Hello everybody, welcome back. British writer Jonathan Swift said, "Proper words in proper place makes the true definition of a style. Diction is appropriate when it suits the intended occasion. Choosing words that are appropriate in your writing can convince your readers that your work is serious and important." So in this lecture, I will explain how to use words appropriately. We are going to learn what are formal, popular, and informal words. Be able to choose formal or popular words for essay writing. Be able to present the most frequently used formal words. Task: look at the following paragraphs and answer the questions. Questions: is this paragraph writing formal, semi-formal, or informal? The answer is, this is an informal writing. If you intend to write in a formal way, you should not use first and second person pronouns such as one, three, and six. Now use informal vocabulary and acknowledge sources with accurate references, like 2 and 4. Do not ask questions in essays unless they are rhetorical questions, like 3. And do not use conjunctions, like 5. What are the levels of formality? Formality means the state of being formal. The level of formality of a piece of writing is determined by the purpose, the audience, and the type of writing. There are 3 levels of formality in English: formal, semi-formal, or popular, and informal. Formal. We have talked about informal level of diction. Now let's come to the formal level of diction, which is serious and dignified, such as textbook, official report, academic articles, essays, business letters, contracts, official speeches. Formal diction is often written in the third person, tends to include long sentences and multisyllabic words, and contains no slang or conjunctions. It has a slow, rhythmic flow and an authoritative, distant, and impersonal tone. Formal diction is also used in scholarly publications, in operation manuals, and in most academic fields. Notice in the following excerpts from a chemistry textbook that the language is concise, exact, and marked by specialized terms called jargon, used within the particular field of study. The examples of jargon are in italics. Semi-formal or popular, formal writing and informal writing are the extremes. Most writing falls between these 2 extremes and is a blend of formal and informal elements that best fit the context. Day-to-day interactions with colleagues and teachers, popular magazines or books, newspapers, interviews, when talking with someone in authority or who you respect. It sounds more conversational and personal than formal diction. Conjunctions may be used, and the sentences tend to be shorter and less varied than the formal diction. The first person or second person may be used. For example, though the author used 5 first-person pronouns, his language is basically formal. being neither too serious nor too casual. In this excerpt, the writer commits a light conversational tone. There are also many action verbs, few abstract words, and more concrete words. Since we have learned the 3 levels of formality, we now can consider which type of formality we should use in our essay writing and academic writing. IELTS uses a semi-formal or popular or formal style. The IELTS website says academic essays may use a neutral or slightly formal style of writing. However, the more formal the vocabulary and the more complex the grammar, the higher writing score your essay will receive. In the case of vocabulary, for instance, the scoring scheme gives higher scores when less common or uncommon lexical items or words or phrases are used, which is what formal vocabulary is. Informal. If the situation is informal, for example, the writing may be colloquial, that is, the words may be chosen to suggest the language of everyday speech and the conversation. It is friendly and casual. For example, a friendly email, contractions, slang expressions. Sentence fragments and the first person and second person pronouns are all common in informal diction. This level of diction should not be used in essay and academic writing, except when it is part of a quotation or block of dialogue. Look at the style in the previous task. The language is casual, the sentences are shorter, tone is familiar and friendly. Here are some guidelines for understanding what vocabulary to employ for academic papers and essays. 1. Choose formal or popular vocabulary. Anglo-Saxon words are less formal than those of Latin and or French origin. Native English words can be used both in oral and written English, while Latin and French derived words are multisyllabic and frequently used in your thesis or dissertation writing. Here are the examples. Now let's look at the following 2 groups of words. On the right column are the formal words, which will be used in the formal writing. 2. Phrasal verbs and single word equivalent. Single word equivalents in the brackets are the formal words which can be used in the formal writing. However, don't think that a few phrasal verbs in your essay writing will make it too informal. In fact, there are many situations, even in quite formal texts, when a phrasal verbs is the most natural sounding way of expression an idea. To summarize, formality and impersonality prevail in a formal research paper. 1. Use the third person rather than the first person unless you are expressing a personal opinion. 2. Use standard vocabulary, not slang or original or an ethnic dialect. 3. Use a more formal one-word verb if it sounds more appropriate than its phrasal verb equivalent. 4. Informal writing tends to be characterized by slang, contractions, references to the reader, and concrete nouns. Formal writing places a high value on objectivity and accuracy. Be sure to choose the proper words for your academic writing. Consider using more words of French or Latin origin, or the precise terminology employed for the topic under consideration. Thank you for watching. See you in our next lecture.